Hey guys, welcome here and welcome back. This is Jaden Robinson with the Blue Collar Future podcast. If you've listened to the first few, thank you. And this is if this is your first time, thank you as well. I appreciate all the support. I have some stickers made with the logo, and I've had some interest in getting them out to people. So I will be having those available either on Instagram or through my website. I'm not sure yet. I'm going to figure something out about that. So if you're interested, reach out there. I'm trying to figure out kind of how that's going to go. So I wasn't really planning on selling anything quite this soon, but I might sell those. So for this episode, I decided to go with a little bit of my experience being since we started this business. You know, as obviously I have a business building websites for contractors, and then I still work in concrete. So that's kind of the reason I started this podcast. And so my business is focused on contractors and tradespeople and really mainly bringing technology to the industry and getting a lot of people to start using these tools that we have. So I figured today I'd talk about social media, since social media is free and super easy, and it's also important. And usually when people come to me asking for a website, and they don't have any social media set up, I tell them to go start doing social media first, because at the end of the day, it's free, and you can kind of start getting pictures and content built up and start building your brand that way, and you don't have to put a bunch of money into a website. Now, it is also a good thing to build a website right away, because the sooner you build your website, the more the longer it'll be around, and then the easier it'll be to find. Is kind of a simple way to put it. So that is important. But if you don't have a bunch of capital and you're just starting, or you're just starting to get into this technology space, social media is awesome, and it's free, and a lot of people aren't using it like they should. If you are using social media only to just mindlessly scroll through, funny videos, it is a complete waste of time. It can be a good, entertainment source, but it's just a waste of time. So start being a little bit intentional with your social media and start building a brand. There's a book that I will include a link to in the show notes called How to Build Your Personal Brand for Under $1,000 or something like that, from Dan Fleischman. Probably one of the best books I've read, and been one of the biggest helps in building my personal brand and my business. Many of the reasons that I started posting on social media, that I started doing this podcast, all of that has been because of that book. So I'll include that, and I'll talk a little bit about it. But I've got 5 reasons for you right now to start posting on social media. And yes, anybody can. This isn't just for business owners, but I'm going to kind of tweak it to business owners, because it's super helpful. But everybody should be using this tool rather than letting it, run their life, because it's super helpful. And the more people you can know about you and you connect with, the more opportunities you'll have. I've had a bunch of job offers in software development, concrete, anything that is kind of like my two split offs, because I was studying engineering and web development for the last, since 9th grade. I've been studying engineering, and then I've been studying web development the past 2 or 3 years. But I haven't been applying for jobs, and I also haven't been putting my resume out there. I haven't been doing any of that stuff. And I've been getting job offers to go be a web developer for somebody, or a software developer or whatever. just because people know me and they know who I am, they know what I do, they know enough about me that they can tell that I would be a good person to add to their team solely because of social media. And that's just one of the reasons. I've had also job offers for concrete because um, I post about concrete, and people see that, people know, and they want good people on their team. And a lot of times it's one of the easiest ways to start building that. If you know the right people, you can get hired on just about anywhere. So, but we'll go into my 5 reasons. So, number 1, free. Number 2, something called omnipresence, and I'll go over that in a minute. Number 3, quality of your work. You can show the quality of what you do. Number 4 would be client connection. You can interact with your clients and build a better relationship there. And number 5 is it's easy to use. Literally, you can write up a post and post it in 30 seconds that could go viral and could change your life. So we'll go number 1. It's free. A lot of these technologies that people are pushing are pretty expensive. There's a lot of specified social networks, coaching groups, a lot of specialized like technologies for finding jobs. There's a lot of those being built out there for contractors, and like classified apps almost for contractors. But social media is free. Instagram's free. Facebook's free. They're some of the largest platforms and search engines next to Google. And in order to get out there and be seen, all you need to do is post every day about what you do. Take a video of yourself talking about what you do, post pictures of what you do that every day. Start interacting with people, message people in your industry, out of your industry, your friends, family, get people to start sharing your stuff. That's all you have to do to build your brand and your network to start bringing work in. Ads are good, websites are good, all that stuff's good. But if you're not doing like that absolute fundamental stuff, there's no point, in my opinion, because they all build off of each other. And why not start with the baseline, the free step first. Number 2 would be omnipresence. So that's something that's talked about in Dan Fleischman's book. Omnipresence is kind of people's top. You kind of have this presence that's everywhere all the time. So and this applies to if you're posting on like all social media networks, always sharing and part of a bunch of different types of media, all that type of stuff. But we'll just talk about getting started with one first. If you're posting all the time, you're posting about what you do, you're posting about who you are, your hobbies, all of that type of stuff. And that's important too, is to post about your hobbies. Because you'll get connected with people that you never would have, that could turn into really great connections just because of hobbies that you have. Your omnipresence, you become like everybody has this top of mind awareness about you. So as soon as one thing comes up that has anything to do with you, whether it's a hobby, whether it's what you do for work, whether it's something that they know you've done before, when they're seeing your stuff all the time, you're the first one that pops into mind. And if they know and like you because they've been following you for a while, they are, just as likely in that second to refer you as anybody else, just because they know and they've seen your stuff. This next one is the quality of your work. And that goes right into omnipresence, because if you have top of mind awareness and something comes up, a referral opportunity from somebody that knows and follows you, and they see how good of a job you do all the time, they will be completely on board with referring you and it's basically people selling for you all over the place all the time. And I've seen this happen myself. I mean, I'm always thinking like, what reason would people have to refer me for websites? Because we're just a new company, we're a young couple and trying to make our way in the world, and people are so supportive of that, but they see how good of a job like my wife Maggie does, for example, on the websites, and either they've worked with us or have seen work or whatever. And when something comes up, our names are some of the first that pop in their mind because I post all the time about things. And actually, I don't even post that much about websites anymore. I post a lot about concrete and then this podcast, but the websites is still there and people still know because I post about it a lot. And so when you're showcasing the quality of your work, and this goes for any industry, any profession, it doesn't matter if you're it doesn't matter if you clean shitters or you're a lineman. It doesn't matter if you're a contractor doing plumbing, HVAC, nothing. No matter what it is, if you're posting about what you do, and there are instances where you come across where you're going that extra step, and you document that, people will absolutely root for you and be on board with sharing about you. Now, the next step the next reason is client connection. If you're looking at it from a personal standpoint, this would just be your network connection because you're building relationships. And that's what this world's about, is building relationships. You might hear people say that it's about, being the best at everything all the time. And it's about, this and that and the other. It's about cultivating relationships and, connecting with these people and staying in touch. If they like you and you do a good job and you take care of your customers, that goes above and beyond anything else you could do. Joe Rogan, or not Joe Rogan, sorry, Andy Frisella. Andy Frisella and Alex Hormozy were just barely talking about a lot of this stuff, and they were talking about how good reviews go farther than any ad you could possibly run because it's exponential in growth. So when someone is giving you a good review and they're vouching for you, that person will go to the next person, and the next person will go to the next person, and so on and so forth. And when people go and find you online and they see that there's all these good reviews about you, they're way more likely to work with you. And social media 100% propagates that. From being able to take reviews, from having support on the platforms, from everything. It's super important. So interacting with your clients on there, and that could be, not even just interacting with clients, but interacting with people in your industry, even in your area. It comes down to building relationships. That's all it's about. And in that instance, it's a lot better to have good relationships with your, quote unquote competitors than to just like block them out of your platform and not talk to them and just have them like in the back of your mind. It's a lot better to have good relationships and build things with them, and referrals will come that way. Goodwill will come that way. It's that not having the scarcity mindset that a lot of people, it turns a lot of businesses into very successful businesses. When you don't have this scarcity mindset that every person is your competitor, it really goes to build a company that is going to stick around. again, and this goes for building your personal brand and network. If you're not building a personal brand right now, and you're not getting in touch with your competitors, people in your industry, people that you in an industry you want to be in, and you're not building those relationships now, I mean, what are you even doing? This thing is free. You can spend 30 minutes, or you can spend 10 minutes or 30 or an hour, 2 hours on there pushing your brand, pushing you, messaging people, interacting with people, setting up meetups, building these relationships. And then when opportunities come along for another job, say you work in as an electrical contractor and you're an employee, um, and you're pushing yourself, you're pushing your brand, you're posting, you're doing all that stuff, and a big competitor comes in and they see the type of person you are and they really want you on their team, they'll go 100% go ahead and shoot you a job offer, because that's how that goes. People like to hire people that they know, rather than taking in applications from things like that. So it's in your best interest to start networking and using these platforms to push your brand and push you and propagate you. Number 5, the last one, is it's easy to use. Talked about this a little bit already. I mean, a website is good for building your business. It's nowadays crucial, super important, because so many people are going online. But it's not that easy to use. And you can't set up your own that is going to look good and convert people and bring in business very easily, especially if you don't have any knowledge about how to do these things. But on social media, it is extremely easy to post and to bring people in and to convert people to your brand and so on and so forth. So that was the last one. Easy to use. Honestly, I think that social media is one of the most important new tools nowadays for businesses, for people. I mean, it's allowed us to gain access to people all over the world easier than ever before. I don't know. I mean, it gets such a bad rap, and it kind of surprises me just because of how useful it is. If people were to look at the positives and then not let this technology take over their life, but work for them, then there'd be a completely different mindset around it. But that's my advice to you guys. Start building a personal brand. Super important. Doesn't matter if you're in a business or not. You couldn't even begin to imagine the opportunities that would come. I've been extremely surprised at how many opportunities and how many people have supported me on social media, and just because I've been posting. And I'm not for everybody. I mean, there's a lot of things I don't agree with people on, and if people are like in my face getting annoyed with me, I'm not very friendly, I guess I should say. I don't really back down and just go with whatever everybody says. I'm not like this super uber duper people person. But I mean, you attract the people on social media that will enjoy listening to you and enjoy building relationships, because there's people out there. It's been awesome. It really has. I would say it is one of the most important things to do nowadays, even like, especially if you're in school. If you're in school doing, going even to be like an engineer, like I was going for engineering, I would get on social media and start posting about that and start reaching out to people that are already engineers and start getting your network built of where you are, where you want to go to work, what you want to do. hobbies you have, like start connecting with people on those levels, and you really would be surprised at the amount of opportunities that would come from that. That's all I got today. So this will be episode number 5. I am recording this kind of just after I have gotten the podcast launched. So the next episode will be an interview with Jake Moss. I really enjoyed that interview. There's a lot to come. I have a lot of content kind of built up, so because I wanted to make sure that I could do this and keep it going every week. If you have anything you want me to cover in a solo episode, because this is what I'll be kind of doing. I mean, obviously last week I did health and fitness in a manual labor position. Today I'm doing social media and construction industry. If you guys have topics you want me to cover or things you want me to go more into depth on, let me know, shoot me a message, and like and subscribe and share wherever you're listening with your friends if you got something out of this episode. Thank you guys.